Daniel F. In first grade, we have Harper B. Second grade, Annika S. Third grade, Louise T. Fourth grade, Oscar Suayar Jr. Fifth grade would be Riley Browning. Sixth grade, Oliver Carleen. Seventh grade, Noah Dewar. Eighth grade, Alex Haas. Ninth grade, Brody Barrett. 10th grade, Anna Sullivan. 11th grade is Bella Holloway, and 12th grade is Victoria Ely.
All right, congratulations to our students of the month. And I heard the middle school is doing something different this year, where there's some sort of challenges for the students of the month. Somehow Gabe got to participate in
Yes,
this.
you get to pick a friend and compete against teachers. It's a big deal.
It was a big deal. There were balloons.
It wasn't even new, yeah. I mean, we put him down. He fails and Colnagel. Oh, yeah. It was fun. It was fun.
The students really got a kick out of
Yeah.
it.
It's the academic pep fest that we have.
That's cool.
Yep.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, moving on to our reports. Item 8. Item 8.1 is our committee reports. So we always start with finance.
Finance, we have not met. We'll probably be meeting after New Year's, afterwards the facilities committee meets and talks about some of the facilities and how we want to move forward with bonds, that kind of stuff, and building projects and that type of thing.
Good. Item 8.1.2 is negotiations. Joe, you wanna?
I've been in communication with Hannah Bernhardson, the rep from the secretaries and paras. So I'm hoping to be able to send out, I'm just waiting for some possible dates from her. So hopefully I'll send out something shortly. We can start meeting with those groups. And then, I don't know if you want to provide an update on LCTA.
Well, we're still, I mean, we're just negotiating.
Just
You know.
working through the process.
Yeah, we're working through the process. We've had some really productive meetings, but we just gotta keep kind of going back and forth till we get there. Same with the custodians. There. All right, item 8.1.3 is MVED.
No update since our last meeting.
You guys meet like every other month, right? It seems like it's always right after this
I don't know
one.
if we have 4 or 6 a year.
Okay. All right, 8.1.4 is human resources, and Kelsey's not here, but we haven't met either, nothing to, we're kind of an ad hoc, well, I mean, we are a standing committee, but we meet when necessary, so. 8.1.5 is policy committee, Director Reed.
I was unavailable to make this meeting due to a conference for work, so I will have to ask somebody else that was there to report.
We got through a bunch of different policies.
So the,
We got through most of the 400s, and then half of the 500s, and then the ones that required more in-depth, we tabled because of, there was more district specifics, we had to get the actual language of what we want to use for our district, but most of them were done with accepting or recommending the board, not the board, but the Minnesota School Board Association recommendations for changes. Most of ours didn't need any changing. So it was just a matter of reading through, making sure there wasn't any changes, and then they had just some minor tweaks. A couple of them had just additional statutes put into it, but that was the only change to them, so pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and like I said before, we're on a cycle of reviewing these, so that's really all. There's no new ones that should be brought to attention.
okay, and so we have some to vote on today, but I think they're all just kind of red lines, right? Like just
Yep.
the minor changes, keeping up with little things that happen.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, item 8.16 is facility steering committee.
We have not met since the last board meeting. We have a meeting set for next week, and I'm hoping that you three over there all got meeting invites from me, and you two.
I responded, I said yes.
Okay. I don't have my list in front of me, it's on my
Me too.
desk. So. Or actually, no, it would have been Brian, yeah.
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 I haven't responded yet.
Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody saw that, so I guess from there we'll report back, we have something to report.
And just, I talked to Matt today, I think you're the only one I talked to, but just so you know, Henderson is considering participating in a Minnesota design team visit. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Minnesota Design Team. I've collaborated with them in my real job. But it's a group of like architects who have kind of a community development slant on things. And so they'll come into a community and they'll come for like 3 days where they do some touring and talk to local leaders and talk to residents and kind of learn about the community. And then on the last day, they'll do kind of a presentation where they'll talk about, here's some recommendations that we think you could use to improve your community. So a lot of it comes down to like streetscape design and that kind of thing, like how do you make your street and your main street, your shopping areas. But they'll also do some discussion about kind of how does your community connect and some of the things that are happening. So they've asked that the school be involved in that process, and I'm really excited that they asked us. So Jim and I for sure will do some tours probably with them, but I also kind of mentioned that Gretchen and Brian, being Henderson folks, you might want to be part of that, or, you know.
I didn't even know they were doing this, so.
Well, they're still in they've applied, and they
Okay.
haven't officially been accepted because the Minnesota Design Team is a little slower maybe to come out of COVID. So it's not clear for sure that's gonna happen, so they haven't made a big deal out of it yet because they don't wanna like get it too far ahead of themselves. But I did wanna bring it up because I think this is a great opportunity, and they think maybe some discussion of Hilltop and what's happening with that site might come up as part of this, so. I think it's March 31st, April 1st, and 2nd, so just kind of keep that on their radar. And then Saturday night, they'll do kind of a big public presentation, and they're hoping to get a couple, like 100 or so people there Saturday night, so put that on your calendars. It's an exciting Saturday night activity. And take your spouse over to Henderson.
Has that group been to Henderson before? It's
They
ringing a
did,
bell.
yes. So they did Henderson, I guess like in 99, 98, 99.
Okay,
And they said that some of the improvements that they've done to the Main Street came out of that
Okay.
visit. We Sewer also did it. And I feel like that was right after I moved back to town, which would have been like 2005.
okay.
So maybe like 2007 we surveyed?
That sounds awfully
Because
familiar.
I remember filling out a survey at the library. And of course, you know me,
Yes.
I got very excited
Yeah.
to take the survey.
I'm surprised they didn't pull you into
I
volunteer.
can't believe I didn't get myself. Anyway,
Okay, that's why it sounds
because I
familiar.
just moved back to town, so I wasn't ready
Okay.
to.
No, it
But
sounds
anyway.
familiar.
So, yeah, they've been around, they're really great, they do a lot of really good stuff, so I think it'd be good if we can have that school perspective and everything they're doing. So, okay, sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to steal your committee report, but it seemed
I'm good.
appropriate. All right, and then item 8.1.7 is the Community Ed Council. I unfortunately missed the last meeting because we were negotiating, but there is an excellent update. Thank you, Nate, for sending that in. And if you read your board update there, and anybody online can look on it, an excellent update on what's happening with community ed in there. So, any questions for any of the committees? All right, item 8.2 then, Jim, that's you. Oh, and can you introduce Darren?
Yes, this is Darren Kern. He is our new elementary principal for Park Elementary. I invited Darren to come, Jeff and Nate to come to kind of talk about their areas. I had also the administrators put together kind of reports for the areas up to this point, so as a board, you can kind of hear what's going on, what's been going on up to this point, and what's coming up down the pipe as far as things happening, especially with the holidays, and winter seems to be, for schools anyway, a really hectic, busy time of the year, so I just thought if you had any questions for them, if you wanted to ask them, you can certainly do that now, or if you guys want to talk about, Darren, if you want to talk a little about your experience so far at Park and everything else that's been going on?
Yeah, you know, it's been a really good adjustment, very good staff. I'm impressed with the quality of our teachers. There's certainly some work that needs to be done to improve test scores, and we will be starting a school improvement process here, probably after the first of the year. It's a process I've done in other districts that's led to a pretty dramatic increase in test scores, and I would expect the same to happen here. So I'll work with the elementary leadership team to be part of that process and focus instructionally on what we need to do to meet the needs of all of our kids and get those test scores up. So I'm pretty excited to begin that process. Yeah.
Well, welcome to LSH.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jeff, anything from the activity side, you want to say that you did put on a piece of paper?
That I didn't put on?
Yeah.
Not really, I mean, fall was great, we got fall in. I mean, that was going into the year, we had no clue, I mean, after last year, if you were around, it was hit, I mean, it was week to week and we got it in, so that was the biggest thing, so. And now I just think our goal is to continue to increase numbers and participation, and that's everywhere. I mean, we go to our AD meetings and it's everywhere. I think COVID really, it did a weird thing as far as getting kids. I mean, I think we all thought everybody's gonna be jumping back into activities, and I think it actually had the opposite effect. I think it made, it seems like most schools' participation numbers are down, coming back into COVID. And maybe it is because there's still people a little bit nervous about COVID or families, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it was a good fall. It was just fun to get everything in and have conference meets and normal meets and games and playoffs and state tournaments and everything else, so, yeah, it was a fun fall.
And we had near perfect tennis watching weather.
Yes.
There were
Same
several
with
days
football.
where I'm like, oh
Oh.
darn, I have to leave early to
Yeah.
go sit outside and watch tennis.
No, the weather was
Terrific.
phenomenal. I mean, it was a great, yeah, so that helped, so. In winter, if you got to see the musical, it was
so good.
awesome.
So
It
good.
was
Bang up.
so much fun, and those kids did just and our director did such a good job. That was, my 17 years here, definitely top three since I've been here, so, a lot of fun. Yeah, and winter sports are cruising. I mean, tomorrow night, if you're looking for something to do, we will have a wrestling match, a boys basketball, and boys hockey, all going on at the same time, so, good luck finding a place to park tomorrow night, anywhere, so. Park
So
and walk.
parking at the Roby House.
I'm selling that.
Yes,
Yeah.
parks up there, yes.
20 bucks is
There you go, so. Other than that, we, and he's not an LSH student, but just thoughts and prayers, one of our JV hockey players from TCU was pretty badly hurt, at Mankato West the other night. Temporary lost feeling in his extremities. He's back as of Friday, he still wasn't walking on his own. But it sounds like he's gonna make a recovery. They found some kind of degenerative condition in his, and he can no longer play contact sports after he recovers, so. But just, could have been a lot worse, so. Fortunately, it happened, people were there to treat him, and I think he's gonna make a recovery, but just thinking about him and his family, just, kid loves hockey, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're told you can't play anymore, so. So that was not a fun thing to hear, but no, other than that, everything's going really well right now, so. Yeah.
I thought when I looked at the numbers for everything, it seemed cross-country was down a little bit. Was that, because in my mind, it's one, like in my head, it's one team. So then looking at the boy-girl numbers, it seemed lower, but when you put them together, it was like 35.
Yeah, I mean, we're usually, typically, I look back at the 13 years I coached, I was anywhere from 35 to 65, depending upon the years. And I think too, coming out of COVID, it affected it, so. But we got, Casey Fales will do a great job, he'll get kids.
Oh, for
he'll
sure.
get kids
It
back,
just,
yeah.
in my mind, it seemed, but then I was like, well, I'm looking at them separately.
Yeah,
If you put
Yes.
it together,
yes,
then I get it. Because in my mind, it's a big bus full of excited runners.
yeah,
So,
so.
Nate?
Cool. Well, piggyback off of that, youth sports, we would like to offer a bunch of youth camps this summer with our varsity coaches. I'm excited to do that, Casey was just hired last year, and so he wanted to, get his feet underneath him before starting anything. So he's like, next year, we're gonna do a youth cross-country and build that up. And I know Mr. May, football coach, is interested in doing some summer camps, and so we're happy to offer that and build up the programs from the bottom up, which when you get the varsity coaches involved at the youth level, that really makes a big difference when they get older. So,
And the biggest thing with that is getting our varsity players and our athletes, because I mean, we all remember being a third and fourth grader, and those varsity athletes they were our all-stars. And, you know, getting those guys involved and gals involved is I think gonna help a lot, so.
There were a couple of years, Jeff, right, where we did some sort of cross-country camp, but we did it with like Belle Plaine and.
Yep.
I seem to remember
Yeah.
my kid wouldn't run, so
Yep.
then I'm out there trying to run and.
Yeah, we did, each of us did our
Nice,
own
Hunter.
youth camp, and then we did our own youth clinics.
Yeah.
And then
Race
we
each other.
invited the kids to our home meets, and we'd run a youth race. So, and I've talked to Casey, he's on board, so we'll get it going. It's been a year and a half.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my daughter doing the youth
Yep.
cross country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. And our youth track camp has always been popular. I mean, we've always had a ton of kids like that over in the summer, so, yeah. We just gotta get it going again. Just gotta get it all going again.
We'll get it going. Make
Yeah.
it fun and they'll come out, and that's the main thing, is make it so much fun that when it's done, they're sad that it's over and they can't wait for next year to start up. In Community Ed, we've had a good year, a good start to our fall. We had 53 preschoolers at the start last year. This year we have 72, so we really improved there. We were down a little bit last year, and obviously last year you just kind of take and throw out the door. But it's a pretty big increase from one year to the next. Met with Darren, and we talked about some of the things that led to that success in preschool we're going to continue doing. So I'm excited about that. Last year we teamed with Rotary, and we walked the town, and every preschool and early childhood student that we know their address, we put a door hanger on their door and let them know about the preschool and kindergarten open houses. And I think that really helped out. So we'll keep doing that. Last weekend, another awesome thing for those that came downtown LeSueur for the Christmas in the Valley event. That was awesome. We had our float there. Jim did really good. I offered a bad joke, but he declined. So you said you were going to share your own, but you didn't have much time, so you probably.
I did. Actually, I shared it with the.
I was gonna say that would be
Very
our
good
joke.
joke. Bad joke.
Very good. So that was fun to be a part of that. We handed out hot chocolate packets. One interesting thing that's not in the update, the Community Ed catalog is scheduled to hit mailboxes January 1, or that first week in January. But our house of print that we use, they've had a couple of deaths, some retirements, and COVID, and they're about 3 weeks behind in their production. So our catalog might be a little bit later delayed because of everything that's going on with them. But we might try to, there's a printer out of Waseca, we're going to see if we can use them, because right now we just need to proof a little bit and hand it off to the printer, then it'll be good to go. But I'm excited to put that out for the community. It's not a full catalog. With COVID, we went online for the first time, and we just didn't see the results. But it was nice having the savings of not having a catalog. So instead of a 16-page brochure, we have an 8-page brochure. And then we'll continually point people to the website for any new classes that we're going to be offering. So.
Anecdotally, I love having the catalog on the kitchen counter, because
Yeah,
it just
I
reminds
keep
you.
it there, and it's there in the stack of doom, right, all the time, so I'm like, I know there's something coming up, and I know right where it is, and yeah, just anecdotally, but I'll appreciate having something on my counter.
Me too. So, and our registration numbers show that. We did really well with numbers this year as opposed to online. So that was proof that the online catalog is valuable, it gets read, and the seniors give us a call when it doesn't get mailed out. So.
Well, they gotta take their 55 and alive.
Yes. When is the next 55 alive?
Yeah.
So.
They gotta be ready for that.
And then other than that, we had 3 student teachers who are interested in doing that TOSA program and being essentially full-time subs for us, and so they'll be at the top of the list, so they're committed to just subbing here in LaSur Henderson with the idea of hopefully giving our teachers a break when we have staff who are gone or absent, that kind of thing, and so they'll be responsible for being able to sub from kindergarten all the way up to seniors. And, you know, hopefully, I don't wanna say we kind of limp through it, but the idea is that we can get the breaks where people need breaks and that type of thing, and relieve some of the stress that's going on for staff. And then outside of that, just try to get to Christmas before any major outbreak hits or anything we gotta deal with. I know some districts, I'm sure you've seen, are discussing increasing the length of time over Christmas break. I think it's up to 5 that I saw right now.
Especially those 3 days, that 21st,
Yeah,
22nd,
the week
23rd.
before.
Right. I understand why they're doing it, what the purpose is of it. I do know, and any of the admin team could talk about the idea that, in most cases, it's probably a good thing, but for the sake of our students who, the holidays are not a cheerful time for them, to increase the amount of time that they'd be spending at home is not a good thing. And having kids come together and still be together during the holidays for those 3 days prior to Christmas Eve and that type of thing, I think is important for their mental health and well-being. You know, without obviously going into details, we have some kids that go home to some really rough situations, and the holidays bring out the worst in their homes. And so it's one of those things where the more we can have them here to have some level of normal is a good thing, and if we can do that, I think it's worth doing that for those kids. Other than that, things moving along. Once I get Juanita back and we find a business manager, then I can get back to doing some fun stuff.